People everywhere are searching for abundance. They work tirelessly, they chase opportunities, they compare themselves to others, and yet, for many, true prosperity seems distant, like something always out of reach. But what if I told you that abundance is not something you need to pursue in the outside world? What if all that you are looking for has been with you all along, quietly waiting to be recognized? This is the profound truth taught by Masaharu Taniguchi, the founder of Seicho-No-Ie, a truth that has the power to completely transform the way you see life. Taniguchi received a divine inspiration that became the foundation of Seicho-No-Ie. In this revelation, he understood that what we call lack or scarcity does not belong to the essence of human life. Our true image, the spiritual reality created by God, is already complete, perfect, and abundant. What we perceive as limitation is only a phenomenon, a shadow, an illusion produced by a mind that has forgotten its divine origin. When we awaken to the true image, we realize that abundance is not a reward we have to earn, but the very nature of who we already are. Think about it. There are people who possess great wealth, but live with fear, anxiety, and dissatisfaction. On the other hand, there are those who may not have material riches, but who live serenely, radiating gratitude and joy in every circumstance. This shows us that abundance is not defined by possessions, but by consciousness. Prosperity begins not when we acquire more, but when we recognize the richness already present in our lives. Taniguchi explained that human beings often mistake appearances for reality. We look at temporary conditions and believe they define us. But appearances change, while the divine essence remains unshakable. When we focus only on the external world, we see obstacles, debts, and limits. But when we turn inward and connect with our true image, we find a source of strength, peace, and abundance that nothing in the external world can take away. One of the many testimonies shared in Seicho-No-Ie publications tells of a woman who struggled with constant dissatisfaction. No matter what she achieved, it never felt like enough. She longed for recognition, for more comfort, for more wealth, and this endless pursuit left her tired and bitter. Then she came into contact with the teaching that abundance is already within. She began a simple practice of daily gratitude, not for what she still wanted, but for what was already present. At first it felt strange, but little by little she began to see her life differently. The same home that once felt small began to feel warm and welcoming. The same work that seemed like a burden revealed itself as a gift and an opportunity. She realized that abundance had always been with her, waiting for her to see it. And when her mind changed, her circumstances also shifted. Her relationships improved. Financial opportunities appeared, and she discovered a peace she had never known. Abundance is not something to be added from the outside. It is something to be revealed from the inside. Just as the sun shines whether or not the clouds cover it, abundance exists in your true image, even when appearances suggest otherwise. Most of the suffering in this world comes from the illusion of lack. People look at their lives and think, I don't have enough money. I don't have enough love. I don't have enough health. I don't have enough time. This constant feeling of not enough creates anxiety, envy, and even despair. But Seicho-No-Ie teaches us that these feelings arise because we are mistaking the temporary shadows of the phenomenal world for the eternal truth of the spiritual world. The truth is that we already possess everything because our life is one with the infinite life of God. Taniguchi often explained that the human being is like a projector. Whatever film we place inside, whatever images we hold in our minds, will be projected onto the screen of our daily life. If we carry images of scarcity, that is what appears. If we carry images of harmony and abundance, then life will reflect that as well. This is not wishful thinking. It is the spiritual law that governs reality. The external world mirrors the inner world. To understand this better, imagine a person who wins the lottery but continues to feel poor inside. Studies have shown that many lottery winners lose their fortunes within a few years, returning to the same financial struggles they had before. Why? Because the external abundance did not match their inner image. Without changing the consciousness of scarcity, no amount of money can create lasting prosperity. On the other hand, there are countless stories of people who began with very little but carried inside them a vision of abundance, faith, and gratitude. These people created opportunities, built meaningful relationships, and attracted circumstances that aligned with their inner vision. A testimony recorded in the teachings of Seicho-No-Ie tells of a man who had been living in debt for years. He believed that his problem was purely financial, but when he began to study the doctrine, he realized that his real problem was his state of mind. He constantly repeated phrases like, I'll never have enough, and life is always unfair to me. When he became aware of the power of words and thoughts, he decided to change his inner script. Every morning he began affirming, abundance is already within me. I am a child of God, and my life expresses harmony. At first, his external situation remained the same, but gradually he noticed changes in his behavior. He felt more confident, more willing to act, more open to opportunities. And soon, life responded. New work came, people helped him, and step by step his debts disappeared. This shows us something fundamental. Abundance is not about what you have, but about what you recognize. The moment you see abundance within, the external world begins to align with that vision. Gratitude becomes a magnet. When you appreciate what you already have, you prepare your heart to receive more. If you cannot value the little, you will never be ready for the greater. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into extraordinary. In daily life, this can be practiced in simple ways. When you eat, instead of focusing on what is missing, say, "Thank you for this meal that nourishes me." When you look at your home, instead of comparing it to others, say, "Thank you for this space that protects me." When you see your family, even with their imperfections, say, "Thank you for their lives, which are a blessing in mine." These small acts are not naive. They are powerful spiritual exercises that align your consciousness with abundance. Remember this: the seed of prosperity is already planted in your soul. You do not need to beg for it. You only need to water it with gratitude, sunlight it with positive affirmations, and protect it from the weeds of negative thoughts. In time, the tree of abundance will naturally bear fruit. When you begin to see abundance as something that already lives within you, every area of life starts to change. Relationships, work, health, and even the way you see yourself are transformed. This is because abundance is not a matter of possessions, but of perspective. A person who sees themselves as lacking will bring that feeling into every relationship, always afraid of being abandoned, always believing they are not enough. But someone who recognizes their own divine abundance approaches others with confidence, generosity, and love. And this inner posture creates harmony naturally. In work, the same law applies. Many people believe that prosperity comes only from external opportunities, but Taniguchi taught that opportunities are attracted by the state of our mind. When a person carries within themselves an image of limitation, they close the doors that could lead to growth. They say, "There are no chances for me," and life reflects that thought. But when the mind is open and abundant, it begins to see possibilities where before there were none. Someone with this attitude attracts help, ideas, and connections that align with their vision. Prosperity flows toward those who already live it inside. Health, too, is a reflection of this abundance. There are testimonies in Seicho-No-Ie of people who discovered that illness was not their true image, but only a temporary phenomenon. By affirming their unity with divine life and filling their thoughts with gratitude, they began to see healing take place. Abundance is not only financial, it is the overflowing vitality of life itself. To recognize that you are already complete is to invite your body to reflect that truth. One woman once shared that she lived constantly saying, "I'm always tired, I'm always sick, I never have energy." And that is exactly what her body showed. After studying Seicho-No-Ie, she decided to change her words. She began each day affirming, "The infinite life of God flows through me. I am healthy, strong, and full of vitality." At first it felt false, but slowly her body began to respond. She started to feel more energy, her health improved, and her joy returned. She discovered that abundance was not something she needed to acquire, but something she needed to allow. This truth applies even in the smallest details. When you smile, when you give thanks, when you choose to see beauty instead of flaws, you are affirming abundance, and life mirrors that choice. It is not about denying difficulties, but about recognizing that behind every difficulty there is an inexhaustible source of solutions. Abundance within you means that no matter what happens, you are never without resources. The practice is simple, yet powerful. Every time you're tempted to say, "I don't have enough," pause and affirm, "Abundance is already within me." Say it when you feel lonely, when you look at your bank account, when you doubt your future. Say it until it becomes part of your consciousness. Because the more you affirm this truth, the more life will reflect it back to you. Remember, the world outside is a mirror. If you carry gratitude, abundance, and faith, the mirror will show you blessings. If you carry fear and lack, the mirror will only repeat those images. The choice of what to project begins in your own heart. When you truly understand that abundance is already within you, life no longer feels like a constant chase. You no longer live in fear of losing or in anxiety about what is missing. You begin to walk with serenity because you know that your essence is already complete. Prosperity stops being a distant dream and becomes your natural way of living. You realize that you were never poor, never lacking, never abandoned. You are, and always have been, a child of God, carrying infinite life and infinite supply. This is why Seicho-No-Ie reminds us that appearances of scarcity are only shadows. Just as clouds cannot stop the sun from shining, appearances cannot destroy the truth of your divine nature. The moment you recognize this, everything begins to change. Your mind shifts, your words change. Your actions flow from a place of trust instead of fear. And the universe responds with opportunities, with harmony, with blessings that had been waiting for you all along. So the secret is not to fight against the shadows, but to turn toward the light. Abundance is not something you will find tomorrow. It is something you can live today, because it is already within you. Let gratitude be your daily language, let faith be your inner posture, and let love guide your relationships. When you live this way, abundance flows like a river, quietly, powerfully, endlessly. And if you stayed with me until the end of this reflection, it means this message touched something in your heart. Let's continue this journey together. Subscribe to the channel so that these teachings can keep reaching you and illuminating your days. And if you are here right now, let me know in the comments by writing the phrase, "This message was for me." It will be beautiful to see who walked with me all the way. If what you heard brought you peace, clarity, or inspiration, leave a like. It's a simple way to show that this connection made sense. And since you are here, there's another video right next to this one that deepens this same theme. Click and continue with me there. Our conversation